Welcome to the Sandbox, the #1 podcast for Sandbox gamers and hardcore PvP action. But be warned, viewer discretion is advised. And now your hosts, Bullet, Quint, and Nateryl.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 52 of the Sandbox. Today, we're going to be talking about some stuff. But first, we got Cool It.
What up, what up?
We got Nate.
What's going on, everyone?
And we got everybody. I'm Quint. Today on the show, we're going to be talking about some PvP hijinks in ArcheAge. We got some new siege equipment and just a little bit of badassery coming to Mortal Online, as well as some monster, amazing, sweeping, epic changes coming to EVE Online. Right, Nate?
Right.
Cool. Well, let's get first. Cooler, what you been up to, man?
Well, I've been playing Diablo 3 on the PlayStation 4 and Mortal Online. That's pretty much all I've been playing.
That's
and
it.
Then, when I'm not doing that, I've gone through the entire everything that the Trailer Park Boys have ever done. All 8 seasons and all 3 movies, and then a couple of little specials from the actors.
What's the Trailer Park Boys?
How long did it take you to do that?
3 weeks, maybe?
All right, I started Saturday. We'll see how
Yeah.
long it takes me.
What the hell is this? What is Trailer Park Boys?
Trailer Park Boys is a Canadian, like Nova Scotia, low-budget series.
Fake documentary.
Yeah, about the reality show of a trailer park in Nova Scotia with a bunch of alcoholics, and it's like when you first start watching it, you're like, I don't know about this, but then it gets its teeth into you, and I don't know, you get to know the characters, and it's just weird and good.
Yeah, I'm like 5 episodes in. It seems like a show that will build on itself as you kind of know the characters and how they work, and starts off very much like, what the fuck am I watching? So I'm hoping it kind of gets better.
That's weird. I don't know. Whenever you guys were talking about it, I just assumed it was some weird knockoff version of Jackass or something.
No.
Yeah, there's some YouTube clips that show like best of highlights. Watch that.
Okay.
See, the thing is that you can't just watch it and know what it's about. You have to just watch 5 episodes and start to get a feel for the characters, and then you start to appreciate it.
Okay.
Or not, I guess.
What do you watch, on Hulu or something? Or just online?
It's all on Netflix.
Yeah,
On
it's on
Netflix.
Netflix now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
What about you, Nate? What have you been up to?
So I got into a Netflix binge of my own. You guys were talking about The League,
Yeah.
and I watched all 5 seasons in 1 week. And then
5 seasons of anything, and that's crazy.
Well,
You get up,
season
3 in the morning and start watching 4 episodes before you go to work.
This is nonstop, man.
Man.
Season 1 was 6 shows, and then 2 through 5 are 13. It's not that bad, and I don't think they're a full hour.
Mm-hmm.
So binge wise, it's not that crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I did all of Breaking Bad in 2 weeks. So
Yeah, The League's only a half-hour show.
yeah,
So it's
so
only 20 minutes on Netflix.
I tell you what, man, it is fucking hilarious. You will
Yeah, it's
die
good.
laughing. I don't know how funny it is for someone if you don't watch football. And
No,
don't play fantasy.
I'm not a football or fantasy football fan, and it's fucking hilarious.
Okay,
you know
good.
who's funny is that the brother-in-law, the crazy
Rafi.
Rafi, man. Did
So
you
this-
see the episode where Rafi and Seth Rogen?
Yeah, that's by far the best episode of the entire series. It focuses only on Rafi and Seth Rogen, and they go to
What's his name, Dirty Jim or something like that?
Dirty Randy.
Dirty Randy, yeah.
Sounds like
Oh,
a
yeah.
winner. I think between those 2 shows, I don't know, The League sounds better to me. I might try and catch that one first.
League
Yeah,
is definitely
League is-
funnier, but Trailer Park is probably more I don't know,
You ever watch
longevity-wise.
John
Or
Waters films?
What's what?
Old John Waters films?
No?
Like Desperate Living or Pink Flamingo?
Are those from the 70s?
Yeah, no. The 80s. Anyway,
Yeah.
it's kind of what Trailer Park Boys remind me of. Probably not going to hit our listeners as a topical reference.
Yeah.
Another thing I did, I took my boys to a bookstore, and they had a graphic novel section, and so I picked up Watchmen. You probably heard of that. They had a movie a couple years ago.
For your kids?
No, I got it.
I don't know what it is.
I took the boys there to get a book, and I ended up getting one myself. So it's just one of those things that I never got around to reading, and I'm
How
on
is it?
chapter 4. It's really good. I don't know why it's the best graphic novel ever just yet. Maybe because I haven't finished it. But no,
Wait, who says it's the best graphic novel?
I don't know. Whoever talks about graphic novels.
Okay.
So it's cool. It's different content from a comic book because it's a whole one big story written at once and drawn at once. So,
Quit. Do you read graphic novels?
I've got some. I've got
Is that the best one?
well, I don't know. Never really got too far into it. I actually don't read that. The one I've got is like the Batman, The Long Halloween, or I've got Hush.
Oh, yeah.
Like I got a lot of Batman ones. You know, I didn't really get too much into Watchmen.
yeah, those are good. A lot of those are comic books collected into one
Right.
story,
Yeah.
whereas this is written specifically to be like a graphic novel.
Mhm.
I don't know. Other than that, just been playing ArcheAge. I don't think I've played anything else since our last cast.
Really?
So-
So you got it bad right now, huh?
I do. I resisted Kulit's temptation to go to Mortal Online. And now we've got some rumblings of an Eve patch that I'm resisting. My goal is to play my 3 months of Patron that I got with Alpha. Not play anything else that 3 months, and then I'll make a judgment call in 3 months whether to move on. And try to resist gaming ADD, which is impossible.
You're not going to make it. You're not going to make it 3 months. I can tell you that right now.
No, I'm not, because I'm probably going to sub to both Eve accounts tomorrow.
Oh man.
Ah.
Cool. Well, I can't wait to hear what's going on with that a little bit.
What about you,
All right.
Clint?
As for me, I've been playing a lot of things, like just kind of hopping around. I've been in Mortal. We talked about it last time, and just kind of felt the urge to hop back in there and check it out, and did. And I was like, man, I'm having a lot of fun right now. This is awesome. And what I was doing is I ended up just standing. I went to Medulla, and I started trying to figure out my skills on my armor crafter. And that's one game, like when you walk away and you come back like 3 or 4 months later, you're like, oh my god, what the fuck was I thinking when I was making this guy?
Oh, yeah.
Because your skill, you use a certain amount of skill points, but then you get bonuses. You have to figure out where those points you were going to try. So I have it written down now. I got it right there. But so I was trying to figure out.
I've got like a spreadsheet made.
Yeah,
So
I
whenever
know.
I go back, I fire up my spreadsheet.
I was looking for. I thought I made it a thing for my armor on the computer, but I actually had it written down on a piece of paper. I threw it away a long time ago. I actually had one on my computer for my mage, which I'm not playing anymore. But so for my armor, I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do and get reassociated with it. And what I am doing, I'm in the help channel there because I never left it, which is like the newbie channel. And I was asking people, oh, what do I do with this? And I ended up just sitting at the armor station, just crafting a bunch of crappy armor for newbies who didn't have anything. And I was like, man, this is awesome. This reminds me, I'm like old days of Ultima Online right here, just chilling at the blacksmith, making stuff for people. And so I ended up subbing, but not for 1 month. I actually bought a 3-month sub.
Hook, line, and sinker, buddy.
Yeah, so I got in and
So we're both on the 3-month no gaming ADD plan.
No, that didn't work. So I've also been playing Ultima since the last time. Got back in on that with the free month. Ended up finding a house spot, which used to be one of my friend's housing spots. And I was like, oh, I want to put a house down. Went to try to put a house down. I was on the free month and I couldn't. So I was like, damn it, got a sub. Sub to that one. Put my house down. I've been playing that a little bit.
That's right, because after our last cast, as soon as we ended it, you go, oh, Ultima's free this month.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
After
they're
we
doing a
spent
welcome
10
back
minutes
thing.
on Ultima.
What's that?
After we spent 10 minutes in Ultima or 10, 15 minutes, then we finish the cast, and there's
Yeah.
you can play it for free.
It's
Yeah.
still going for another, I guess, half a month.
Yeah, till the end of
Right.
October, you get free. Welcome.
I think
back
the
thing.
only criteria is that you had to have played it once before.
Yeah,
you have to already have an account.
It's just a welcome back thing. So yeah, I've been playing a little bit of that, messing around. Diablo 3 here and there. I've been messing around a little bit Elder Scrolls Online. Like, this is bad. And then today, like,
Oh wait, so you had to sub. So wait, you subbed to Mortal for 3 months. You had to sub to Ultima to put the house down. The only way to play Elder Scrolls is a sub. Okay.
And my last one, which today I've never canceled this one, but also World of Warcraft, because today they launched patch 6.0, and I've been dying to see these new character models, and they're awesome. It makes the game feel different, like totally different. So,
I hate to say it, but it's like playing so much Diablo kind of makes you want to give World of Warcraft another try, because you just forget how well Blizzard. How perfect their games are.
Yeah.
How fleshed out they are, and how polished they typically are.
yeah, they changed a lot with this patch today, man. They did a huge number crunch. So instead of having 500,000 health or 1 million, some tanks were getting up to 1 million health. My paladin now has like 60,000 health. All the numbers are way more realistic.
Yeah, I think that's cool.
They cut out a lot of abilities, and just the character models, man. The way they move, the way you run, everything's so much more fluid, and it looks like a new game. It's awesome.
Are you going to BlizzCon?
I am going to BlizzCon, yeah.
Yeah, I
First
thought that
time.
was.
Very excited.
Yeah, you're gonna have to report for us Diablo 3 news.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, WoW. Some people like WoW news, I guess.
Well, not in this show.
Well, I don't know. Who cares? I mean, but I'm really curious to see if they're gonna I'm wondering if Diablo 3 is gonna have another expansion, or
yeah, totally, man.
have they
I don't
announced
know,
that?
man.
Diablo 2 never had a third
Right.
expansion.
No, they're talking about a 10-year plus program for Diablo 3. And
Wait. I've never heard of that. That's awesome.
Yeah, and so
Well, they did a 10-year plan with Diablo 2 with one expansion.
one expansion, but I think they've already got. I don't know. I listened to an interview somewhere, and I think they said that they've got already a couple expansions planned out. I mean, if you look at the end of this expansion, it kind of left it open as to So
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well-
the thing is, though, is that if they did another expansion, no one plays the 5th act. I mean, who plays that? No one.
I did. Well, just play through it once.
One time, right. But the real content of the game is the greater rifts and the rifts now. And, and everyone just does bounties on level 1. I mean, Act 1. Because they're quicker and you get the Ring of Royal Grandeur there.
So if they were going to do an expansion, it would have to be just one act of the story just to continue that. And then they'd have to increase the level cap, come out with a bunch of new abilities, change some classes up, maybe add PvP, Battleground, something like that. There's a lot they could do.
Yeah, you know what I would wonder if it wasn't for... Has anyone tried the Heroes of the Storm or whatever it's called?
Yeah, I'm in
not yet.
the alpha.
How come I didn't get in the alpha?
Because
I thought you did. You did.
Maybe I did. Anyway, I would think that, if they had something like that, not necessarily a MOBA, but some sort of group-based, I don't know, something where you could go up against someone else, maybe build some little fortresses and then try to break them down or something.
Yeah, I'm not big on the MOBAs. I feel like it's just, even StarCraft or anything like that. That's not my style. But if there was something in the vein of Diablo with that kind of multiplayer, I think it would be a lot more fun to me. I'd get it.
Yeah, that's because you've built and you're attached to those characters. You know what I mean? And it's not like you just get a character and you level him up real quick and then he starts back at 0. You don't. For me, I don't really get attached to that character.
Yeah.
Well, the other games they're more highly competitive. It's all about the competition.
Yeah, and there's a bunch of assholes playing them too. You know what I mean? That is like some of the worst communities ever. Is the MOBA communities.
So I had a topic that kind of ties into all of this. They canceled Titan, which was their 7-year MMO, future MMO project, right?
Yep.
Which is of little interest to us because it wasn't going to be a sandbox.
Oh,
but
no, it was going to kind of be a sandbox.
I guess why I thought this was interesting is you have a AAA developer, great success with WoW, and they basically like just took 7 years of work and trashed it.
Well, we
Blizzard
don't know
does
how.
that, man.
Yeah, but we also don't know how much time they spent on it in those 7 years.
Yeah,
Well, let me get to the point I'm trying to make. Like, so basically, we have all these games that come out and crash and burn, like WildStar. SO isn't doing all that great. I mean, I know it did okay, but as far as like in the eyes of people playing games, it didn't hit the levels it's supposed to, right? On you go. Warhammer Online, like game after game. The Secret World pretty much tanked, right? So, and here you go. We got the #1 MMO developer cancel their game. Like, what does this say for the future of MMOs and what kind of games we're going to get?
Well, I don't know. I think that game was going to be sort of a hybrid type shooter, kind of like Destiny. And I think that I mean, I don't know.
Okay, but Destiny's getting terrible reviews. You know,
exactly.
Like a better product.
Exactly.
But what I was told, I talked to a guy at Blizzard, and he told me, you know, why it was canceled and all that stuff. He basically said, you know, I played it, it wasn't fun. Like what we were trying to do, we couldn't. For whatever reason, the magic wasn't there. And Blizzard is known for that, man. They've had games StarCraft Ghost, which was a shooter that was based in the StarCraft world. They put all kinds of development time into that and pulled the plug when they figured, you know, it wasn't up to par.
So you don't think it has anything to do with like the MMO landscape, how games have done, where it's going in the future?
It probably has a
what
lot.
They thought they could
it probably has
contribute.
a lot to do with that because you figure, you know, what did the MMO scape look like 7-8 years ago and maybe 9 years ago when this was being planned? You know, it was a very different world.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it probably had something to do with it. And, you know, there was probably
when WoW launched, I mean, there was hardly shit to go play.
Yeah, no, it was Dark Age of Camelot, EverQuest 2 had just launched, and WoW.
Well, there was a lot of games. There's Star Wars Galaxies.
Yeah, Galaxies.
There was Vanguard. There was Age of Conan.
No, Vanguard's
Age of
later.
There were those after.
Age of Conan's later.
Yeah.
Remember the Matrix Online and Tabula Rosa?
That was all
Those
way
are all-
later.
Yeah, Anarchy Online was before.
Yeah, Anarchy.
There's like 4 games before.
No.
4 or 5 games.
Matrix was before World of Warcraft. Anyway, who cares?
Yeah, whatever.
It got canceled anyway.
So, but yeah, no, they were talking about for Titan, they were going to have like player run shops, like you could set up your own shop and do all kinds. So there was a little bit of sandboxiness to it, but I don't know, man. If it wasn't fun, you know, Blizzard, they're just one of those companies that they'll just pull the plug. They don't care. So
Yeah, maybe that's all it was.
yeah, but no, I get what you're saying. Like, what does this mean for the future of big money MMOs? I don't know.
I mean, the Old Republic went free to play less than a year later.
Yeah, I don't think we'll ever see another like explosion like Warcraft was. You know, that's not going to happen. Everything's going to be smaller now, which is fine. I'm cool with that. You know.
Yeah, me too. But there was a lot of games for World of Warcraft. I kind of pull up the list. Anyway.
Well, Warcraft is 04. There's definitely a bunch after.
Right, but yeah, true. It's kind of funny looking at the list. It's not really that great for the podcast, but
yeah.
So I don't know. You know, Blizzard has like 4 franchises, right? Diablo, the Warcraft, StarCraft, and
Well,
is that it?
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, because Warcraft, they stopped making Warcraft once World of Warcraft came out. Right?
Yeah, now people want Warcraft 4 as their next.
Now we're going to get Hearthstone and the Heroes of the Storm, which is kind of interesting. But, you know, there's other companies that maybe should do that. They should, you know, just only make games that are good. You know, I mean, we kind of saw not Bethesda, but BioWare kind of just get a little bit, they kind of spread their talent a little bit too thin lately, I think.
Yeah.
And we saw a lot of games that were just, that had BioWare's name on them, but just weren't, you know. Now that name is kind of tainted, in my opinion, I think.
Yeah, and I'm really hoping, because Dragon Age or Dragon Age Inquisition comes out next month, like a month away from now, and
Right.
everything I've seen, like they've just been doing this media barrage right now of just Dragon Age content, and I'm just like, oh my god, please let this game be as amazing as it looks, because it's gonna kill me if it's not. It looks great.
Yeah, but I don't know. See, 2 was so imperfect. I don't want to say bad because there's a lot of it I liked, but it was also just very boring.
Yeah.
And I like 1 so much more. And I guess I'm just I haven't read anything, watched hardly anything. I just want to wait till 3 is out, read the reviews, a couple sites, and then purchase it if they're okay. I guess.
They're saying that the main gameplay, or just the amount of gameplay in there is like over 200 hours.
Wow. I don't have time for that.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Like I'm thinking about buying Alien Isolation, and then
No, that's supposed to suck,
I've heard
dude.
really bad about that. Although
Yeah.
I heard it's good with the Oculus. Because they were doing demos of it with Oculus Rift, and then they took it out, but then some modders put it back in.
I heard that the game is like 20 hours long and it's like 6 hours too long or something like that.
yeah,
Maybe
that's
it's
my
14
point.
hours
I
long.
want like a shorter game, like South Park: Stick of Truth was 12 hours. It's like perfect.
I would get Shadows of Mordor or whatever it's called.
I've been hearing
Yeah.
really good things about that, too.
I mean, but
A little
you have
more,
plenty of
Sandbox,
games,
right?
Nate. You don't need another game.
No,
I don't know why you think you need another game. Go look at your Steam list and just go that one and just start playing that because you have plenty of them you haven't played.
all the grayed out ones that have never been installed on there.
Right.
Yeah.
I think, though, if I've
got BioShock Infinity on there. I've got what that game was called.
Yeah, I
Infinite.
didn't like that.
I got Tomb Raider on there.
Mm-hmm.
I got all kinds of shit I haven't played that I bought.
Oh, that Tomb Raider game was good, too.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
didn't get that one because I don't play them. I don't know. I'm debating on what to get like for the PlayStation 4 because I like having games out there.
Yeah.
I've been playing Diablo 4 so much though, and so I only play on hardcore. And I lost. This weekend I lost my level 70 Witch Doctor, which was a blow, man.
Oh,
So that's like that's like y'all's first big loss, right?
I've lost other characters, but not like this guy. This was my main, and I don't know. I must have done something wrong because I must have swapped out a piece of gear that had some sort of kicker on it that I didn't realize how good it was, you know. Because all of a sudden I went into I got like 2 because I was on Torment 1,
Yeah.
and I was just blowing through stuff like not even stopping, like even like kind of kiting groups together so I could kill them together so I would be faster.
Mm-hmm.
And then and then all of a sudden I went back to town and I must have switched something and I went back in the game, went into just a regular rift, and first mobs came out and just one-shotted me.
Oh, my God.
dang.
One shot?
Yeah, and then, you know, and I had a passive that's supposed to bring me back to life, but it didn't do that either. So I'm not sure what happened.
Yeah, it sounds like a glitch or some
Yeah,
sort.
but you know what?
Do you have that legendary gem? There was a legendary gem that was bugging people.
I have one legendary gem, and so there was a gem that was reflecting or something that I heard of. So what would happen is this was happening, I think, for the archery class, the demon hunter, where there was mobs that would cast a reflection,
Mm-hmm.
and they would leave their turret there. They'd go back to town, and their turret was still hitting that mob, so they were getting damaged. But because they weren't hitting it back, I think that they weren't getting the life per hit. I don't know. But I still have a level 70 Demon Hunter and a level 70 Crusader now, which I made the other day real quick.
I don't even think I've hit level 70 on PlayStation. I've been playing too
Dude,
much
I gotta
shit.
tell you, man, that is the way to play that game.
I
Big
agree.
screen TV, kicking back on your couch,
Mm-hmm.
you know, because I play it. See, the reason I don't play on my PC anymore is because if I'm going to be sitting in my office at my desk,
Be on Mortal.
I'm going to play Mortal.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I like Diablo 3 a lot, but I don't like it as much as I'm an MMO gamer. I like Mortal Online, you know. so it can't compete with Mortal. But when my girlfriend's here or the kids are here doing something, and I want to be more social, not lock myself. I don't like to lock myself away when other people are here. It's just a great game to play because, especially on the PlayStation, you can just pause it, and, anytime you want.
Yeah, and as long as you're not playing multiplayer or whatever, the game freezes, right?
Yeah, that's another thing is the PlayStation TV launched today.
Oh, did you get one?
yeah.
I didn't, and I'll tell you why. Because my PlayStation has crap Wi-Fi, and I need to run a wire probably from this office under the house all the way to the front room, and hardwire it before I can do stuff like that. Because even when I just play Diablo 3, I get lost connection, which doesn't really matter because I'm not doing anything with the connection. It's just I can't check my mail. By the way, check your mailbox, Quint. I sent you a couple of legendaries.
I'll do it right after the show.
And anyway, Diablo 3 is going strong. They added in the PlayStation 4 version. They added the patch 2 point whatever it is. I don't even know, 2.1 maybe, where it has the greater rifts. So how that works is, do you know how that works?
As far as you go through a regular rift and then you get an item to go to the next tier. Is that how that works or no?
Yeah. So you're right. So what you do is you go once you can complete Torment 1 rift, then you get to the end of it and it gives you I forget what it's called. It's like a trials key, and then you go basically to a big room, and they just do spawn after spawn of monsters, and you have to kill them before the timer runs out, each one, and then when you're done, it'll say, okay, well you get a greater rift key. Level 14, and I got first one I got was greater rift level 14. There was no way I was getting through that, especially playing hardcore. So I went back, did another rift, got another trial, and just let the timer run out so I could
sandbag a little bit so you get sent to like level 10.
No, I started at level 1.
Oh, okay.
So then once you go through a level 1 a greater rift, at the end it gives you a legendary gem, and it gives you a legendary gem, and then when you kill the boss, you get the legendary gem, and then this dude or chick appears and is like, you can either upgrade your gem, or I'll give you the next level key. So then you get maybe a level 2, or if you did it pretty fast, you might get a better level. So you kind of go through that. I think there's, sorry man, kind of have a cold. So you basically can do that, and you can get all the gems, you can level them up, or you can push, see how high you can get in the greater rifts.
Yeah.
It's just a little bit harder for hardcore players because you can't push it.
Yeah, oh yeah. Nothing's worse than losing a level 70. Although I haven't had that happen. I haven't lost anyone above like level 5. You know?
Yeah.
And that's just me jumping into like hard, just trying to like speed up the gameplay. And yeah, so far I've been very, very fortunate.
Well, you get to a point where you have to push it.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's the way to play the game still. If you lose it, then you start over, but you start over with your gems. So those red gems, as soon as you get a socketed weapon, you put that in your weapon, you're one shot and everything for, till like your 20s, 30s maybe.
The legendary gems?
No, just a regular. So, because if you have a level 70 like marquee gem, you can put that in those aren't.
Because you'll get level 70 stats on a level 1 character. And just
so you'll get beast mode. So what you want to do is about level 20 is just make all gear and just keep making it until you get a socket and everything that can have a socket. So if you're let's say you're going to make a fighter, whatever, whichever one of the melee classes, you're going to put a red gem in everything, and then you put a red gem in your helmet, and then you get an XP boost for a level 70.
Yeah.
So I have so many gems. I can make all the gear.
It just sucks you can't trade them.
You kind of can. I mean, so this is what I was thinking about. So let's say you sit in town, I go out and I go farm I get some gems, come back to town, I can trade them to you then.
Really?
Yeah, because you can trade as long as you were in the game that I found them.
Mm.
I believe.
Okay.
So yeah, so if I get a drop, I can trade it to you in town. You can trade it to everyone who was in the game with you up to like a half hour or something like that.
Yeah, but crafted gems, I don't think you can trade at all. So.
Yeah, but you don't need crafted because if you have a level 70, you're going to get marquees.
Okay.
And those are going to help you level pretty quick.
Well, let's try it.
We
I'm
will.
gonna try it. I need to get some gems.
Have you beat Act 5 on the PlayStation?
No, I'm just.
I can do that for you too.
Yeah, I gotta get
That's
all
just
that.
another thing. You sit in town.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's enough Diablo. Sorry, guys.
All right, well, let's get on with this. I just want to throw in a little quick bit of news about Elder Scrolls Online, because as far as the PvP goes, I mean that was a lot of fun. You know, when we were all in there when that game launched, and we're just running around Cyrodiil and doing all this stuff. But one of the things that always bothered me, and I know kind of like bothered you, is that when you're doing the PvP in Cyrodiil, it just basically turns into a Zerg of everyone moving from fortress to fortress to fortress to fortress. Then you go back around, start over again.
Guild Wars 2, Planet Side 2.
It was a little better than Guild Wars 2 because you could kind of get some outskirt PvP in that game better than Guild Wars, but still.
Yeah.
Well, you could when it launched. I don't know how the population is now.
Oh, it's good.
Yeah, is it?
Yeah, I checked it out. There's a lot less battleground servers for the PvP in Cyrodiil, but there's still you get into a populated one and it's going.
I really like the PvP in that game.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just fun.
Oh yeah, it's always a good time. So I think that Bethesda or ZeniMax has discovered the way to stop that round robin, gate hopping or whatever it is, whatever you want to call it, keep hopping, whatever. So they are setting to release the Imperial City, which was the main city in Oblivion, and that's the city that sits right in the center of Cyrodiil. And what's going to be in the city? They've got some stuff in there that's like very story stuff for PvE. There's also they're going to be releasing a special line of crafted armor that's in there, which is going to be Imperial Daedric, I believe, that you can only craft in there. But in order to gain access to this city, you have to control all 6 of your faction side's keeps. If you lose one keep, you lose access to the city. You can't get in there. You can't do the story. You can't do maybe a dungeon. I don't know.
How many keeps are there total?
I think each faction has 6 keeps.
Okay, so you don't need the whole board.
No, you just need to defend your own. But at the same time, you want to go to their area and fuck with those guys to take away their keeps so that they can't get into the city, and you can.
See, this is what we talk about a lot. Give me a reason to fight. This is why, and you know what this kind of reminds me of? Dark Age Camelot.
Yeah, Darkness Falls.
Well, not only Darkness Falls, but Darkness Falls was great.
Mm-hmm.
But that was sort of like a thing that was in the PvE world.
Right.
But the 3 factions and, I don't know. This kind of gets me. But here's the thing: is it still coming to the consoles?
Yeah, it's still in development for the consoles.
I might wait and play it on the PlayStation 4.
Yeah, I think
I might as well.
Yeah, I think they're taking their time they're changing a lot of stuff. Like, right now when you hit level 50 in that game and then you start getting these things called veteran ranks, and that's like annoying a lot of people because it's really grindy and it's like people don't like it. So I
thought they already changed that.
No, they're changing it soon to something called the champion system, which is basically the Diablo 3 Paragon system.
Nice.
Once you hit level 50, then you switch to the champion levels, and you fill up your XP bar, boom, you get another champion level. You can spend it in something that will help to define your character as being more tanky or more life or, faster regions, that kind of stuff.
I thought that the quests were horrible until I played WildStar and ArcheAge.
Yeah.
Then those quests were like, well, maybe they weren't that bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought ESO questing was tolerable, and then right before I left, I was like, I'm kind of sold. I think I did a good story quest that kind of sold me on it a little bit. But yeah, those 2 games really reiterated the point that questing in Elder Scrolls actually isn't that bad.
Yeah, it's Oh, go ahead.
Do you think Skyrim was a bigger hit on the consoles than on the PC?
No. Well, no. No, on the PC, modding is. I mean, Skyrim is still every
right,
time
but
a Steam
there's
sales.
but there's a
up there.
there's a gazillion people who don't PC game who may have. I don't know the answer. Bottom line is I don't know the answer.
I think longevity-wise of who keeps playing it.
Right, because a lot of people didn't buy it till it was $5 on Steam, right? I mean, a lot of people.
The Legendary Edition is just now what $30 on it's on sale.
Yeah. Hey, I was just curious. I'm wondering if Elder Scrolls Online, they're kind of saying, well, let's see if we could really hit a home run with the consoles now that because the PC line, I don't, you know, if the game's great now or not. Thing is that was not a good launch. I mean, it didn't do very well, I don't think, as far as who bought it.
Yeah, I mean, from what I understand, you know, just being in the game right now, I'm running around and just doing whatever. It doesn't feel like it's dying. It's still super populated, you know. There's tons of people everywhere. You need help with anything.
Does that one server thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's that right there, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I think that was a good choice for them to begin with. But anyways, the PvP is going to be changing, and I think they've got it figured out. So
we've seen games do this in the past. It's definitely nice, but usually the community exhausts that content. Like Lord of the Rings had a dungeon in the PvP zone. You had to control points to get to it. Once everyone had got that shit, no one cared about it anymore, and no one does it.
Yeah, but you know what? You're getting a lot of people from Dark Age of Camelot playing this now, and you know those guys played. They did the same shit every day for fucking 10 years now, 15 years, and they're still doing it. My brother still goes back, plays Dark Age of Camelot, and they're just going from keep to keep.
Oh man, I love this because that's
shit.
definitely what SF PvP needed was just more reason to
defend.
Get in that zone.
You know what? I gotta say, man, I had so much fun the 3 days I played that game.
Yeah.
And we were, you know, me and you and Calpuss and Jamie, and you know, we were all just, I mean, we were just little mobs out there on the fringes ganking people. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was good. Just being highway bandits, man.
That was like some of the most fun I've had gaming this year was those 3 days. But then for some reason I just stopped playing. I don't know why. It's just what we do, right?
That's what we do. The game ADD. That's what we need to change this podcast to. It's just gamer ADD.
Yeah. Gamer ADD.
So
you know what? I haven't had ADD lately. I've been playing.
Well, you've been
Mortal Online,
yeah.
and I've been. I got 2 accounts subbed, and I haven't. You know, this weekend I didn't play quite as much because I had company, but I've played every night until dark. I mean, I can't remember the last time I was playing a game like this. It's I'm hooked.
It's good. It's
nice. If you guys haven't heard our Mortal casts, we've done 2 of them since our last cast here, and they're audio only, but it pretty much covers a lot of the game. We had some other people join us. We don't have to go too deep into Mortal. You know, if it's just give it. If you haven't, you know, one of the things that I keep going back to is we hear so many people say, well, the good old days of Ultima Online or the good old days of Star Wars Galaxy pre-NGE. It's like a lot of those rule sets are in Mortal right now, and a lot of them are they work. If you tried Mortal at launch and you're like, that game's janky, they fixed a lot of that stuff. Can you vouch for that, Quint?
Yeah. I mean, there's still a little bit of jank to it, but man, it's like leaps and bounds beyond whatever it was. It's it's nice.
It's way very playable now.
And they've added some systems, and I mean, it's just there's just so much to do in the game.
Yeah.
Although, you know, this is for Butch. Even though there's so much to do in the game, it's not going to just grab you and tell you what to do. You have to figure out what you want to do, and you have to kind of be a little proactive about getting yourself going. So,
yeah, if you enjoy starting in a game world and not having any fucking clue what to do, this is for you. If you want like guidance and it not to be a hard road, then this is not for you. But maybe this is our crowd. I mean, it should appeal to people.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, Nate, let's get into ArcheAge real quick. You've been playing a lot of it, and you've got some what's this gone PvP crazy. You want to explain that?
Yeah. Well, I think there's 2 ways to level in the game. One is how most people have done it, how Butch did it, which is just quest like crazy all the way to 50 to hit it as fast as possible. I spent all my cash out money from us buying that pre-order on labor potions and the vocation tonics, and I hit 50 through crafting. So I hit 50 about a week later.
Did I hit 50 yet?
No, I barely played you.
I gave my account info.
I logged you in like last night and got you a level or two, but I'm so basically I didn't do any questing. I hit 50, had all my skills, had no clue how to fight because I hadn't quested it at all. So finally I said, all right, let's go out in PvP. So we started doing a lot of the war zones, which is okay content. It's about as cool as doing a stupid battleground. What we've done is the same that we did in Elder Scrolls. We'll kind of like, we'll do that big Zerg thing initially, and then when that's kind of over, we'll pull back and fight on like the outskirts of it, which you usually get a good fight or two. Why that content, why I'm glad it's there is if you have like 30 minutes and you want to go kill people, go to a war zone, you'll get in a fight, then you can log off. But one thing we did recently, which I actually didn't do a whole lot in alpha, is we just got in a boat, went out to the ocean, kind of picked a spot where we thought there would be traffic, and just started killing the opposite faction and stealing their trade packs. And it was a blast.
Pirates.
We had 5 of us trying to track the target. Then you got to like harpoon the boat, kill the dudes on it. We killed these 2 guys, and their trade pack was from the opposite side of the map. So they had to craft it.
Oh man!
They had to get it across their whole zone on a donkey. Then they had to boat all the way across the ocean, and then we murdered them. And when they die, their packs fall at the bottom of the ocean. So we're cool, let's go down and get it. Bush goes down and dies because you can't get back to the surface.
Don't you guys have the tanks, or you can't? Oh, you can take the tank down, but you have to take it off to grab the pack, right?
Right. So we did that. And he still died. We're like in the middle of the ocean, the very, very center, and I guess that's where it's the deepest. So one of the guys we were with luckily knew more about the game than we did. They're these breathing tonics you can buy. We can breathe for 45 minutes straight underwater.
45 minutes?
Oh, that's a long time.
So it costs like $1 to buy, but we basically killed people for 45 minutes diving the bottom of this like super deep part of the ocean. And when we get down there, there's more than just the people we killed. There's like all these trade packs out there.
How long did the trade packs stay in the game after they're...
I have no clue. I guess the whole time, right? I would think. There's these little flags you can see on the bottom of the oceans. You kind of swim out to them and get them.
You could just go out there, just be a treasure hunter, then just trying to recover stuff from other battles.
You can, and I know like Megalito and his crew has kind of done some of that where they hunt the bottom of the ocean.
He's not doing anything but shooting harpoons at the airships and flying around.
Yeah.
It's funny.
I don't know. It's just that was a really, really fun night. It was a blast. And after that gaming session, I was kind of helped solidify like just how this game can stay fun. And even though it's not full loot. Like when we killed those 2 guys, you knew you pissed them off.
Oh man, their night was burnt.
See, I was talking to somebody about ArcheAge, and it's like I was like, well, I'm not really down with the combat. It's tab target, and it doesn't seem that fluid to me. But the only thing I like is like the ships like killing people and taking their trade packs, and they're like, oh, you shouldn't do that. That's kind of mean in the game. And it's like, what? I don't know.
Wait, what game were you playing when you told someone that?
Mortal. Someone in our guild, Mortal. She's like, no, that's not. You shouldn't play ArcheAge that way. I was like, what? Whatever. That's like the only thing I could see is a fun part of playing that,
Well, so the other thing I did is you can take your trade pack across the ocean, you turn it in, you get a star. I think I might have talked about this last cast. But you go to the center free dig zone, turn in, you get 4 stars, which is loaded with pirates. So we kind of we get in there and you stealth all the way through and try to like turn it in. And those guys, of course, probably rake in the trade packs because they just decloak you and then take your pack. But it's kind of neat little.
Did you turn any in?
Yeah, I'm averaging like 1 out of 4.
Oh,
I'll
okay.
make it in. I'm getting a little better at it too. The more
Have
I
you
do
ever
it.
gotten to that point on the map where there's all those boxes and you got to go down and then there's something down there?
No.
Do you know what I'm
Box-
talking about?
No, I don't think
It's
so.
like on that pirate island. There's like the center thing, and there's that hole, but there's all kinds of stuff, and you have to hit your way down through it. And at the bottom, there's a key and a chest.
No, I haven't done
Oh,
that.
okay. I
So-
didn't do it in alpha. We tried a couple times, but we always got killed.
So the other thing in the game is, obviously the crafted gear is the best gear in the game, but they have this Hazla area where you get your weapons, and these Hazla weapons are better than a couple of the tiers in the crafted gear, and you can get them without crafting, so they're free. All it takes is a lot of grinding. Basically, I don't know who created this system. They obviously created the system for a much lower population, or at least, I don't know. You get there and it is not fun. At least I thought that initially. Still kind of not fun. But what most people do
Is it a
they think-
PvP zone?
so it is a PvP zone. What I did at first was like, well, I'm not going to go grind tokens in PvP. I'm going to go in the peace. Well, that's everyone else's idea in the game. So that the worst time to go is PvE, or when it's peacetime.
Oh, okay.
What you do is you go in the PvP, and you get in like a raid group, and you carve out a spot in that grinding zone. It's almost like Darkfall, right? Where you get your little camp, your mob camp, you know? So what you start noticing is guilds will like swoop in and take over spots, and they'll own that spot. Another guild will swoop in and take over the spot, and they'll like shift back and forth. Or like all of the green is your faction, will be on here, and the reds will come in with a line, and then you'll push them back. They'll push you back, almost like a Zerg type of PvP battle. All while everyone's trying to grind these tokens.
So the tokens, they drop off mobs.
They drop off mobs. There's like a rift where
And if I kill you, does the token drop, or you get to keep it?
nope,
You keep it. Okay.
right. So this is the lame, pointless PvP. Although when it kicks into war, and you die, you spawn clear across the damn map.
Okay.
So
Well, that's at least some, some consequence to your death.
yeah, like we were there grinding with our guild. Another guild comes in, and they're gunning for one of our guys. They all come through. They immediately flag purple, and they kill all of us. So basically, like greens killed greens, and then they come back after we reset up, and they all fly in unison, and they're gliders, and they drop a bomb all at the same time and kill everyone.
Oh, really? That's kind of cool.
Yeah, airstrike.
Huh.
Now
I think
our
it's-
little crew all lived. We all like backpedaled and cloaked up. No one else did, but
I think it's safe to say I will not be returning to ArcheAge. That was
Yeah,
smudged
there's
down the toilet.
I'm enjoying there's a lot of goals that takes a lot of time and effort to reach that I'm enjoying, and then obviously I'm finding some fun in the PvP.
Yeah, the PvP sounds like there's something there. So, you guys have a ship, I guess, right?
Yeah,
Couple
although now we're working towards the galleon, which unlike an alpha, it takes a lot to build the damn galleon now.
So that's
probably
not
good.
something. That's not something you guys can go in on, though. You have to get it all on one character, right?
Right.
All the Guild of Stars. See, I wonder. Yeah, I mean, it'd be cool if you could you guys go together and you guys split it. You know.
Well, we could do that, but we also want a fishing boat. So where we're kind of treating it is, we'll just get both at the same time later.
Someone gets a fishing boat, someone gets a galleon.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Anything else about Mortal or ArcheAge?
No, and then we're waiting on Aurora, which will bring the sieges, a new land rush, some
Yeah.
more content. So
How do you think the game is doing? People seem to like it, right?
I think it's doing great.
The
Sure
servers
seems
are
like it
always
is.
still high.
Yeah,
So.
I think they're having no population problems yet. So there's been some botting issues, some hacking issues.
That's it.
You
It is
know.
every game when it comes out, man.
Yeah.
I think I've decided that I won't play games that would give you credit for logging in every day. There's something wrong about that. Oh, you can buy something if you log in every day.
Oh, like the loyalty points? I don't
Yeah.
know. Fallen Earth has that.
Does it?
Yeah. I don't know. A lot of games put out loyalty systems.
Fallen Earth didn't have it last time I played it.
Yeah, dude, they had it.
Well, you can't go back now.
Damn.
No.
Do you think Fallen Earth's going to be around forever? Do you think Fallen Earth will be around 2 years from now?
Hopefully. I mean, I hope it would be. But
Yeah.
I wish someone would get their hands on that and fix it. I mean, it's a good game. I don't think it needs to be totally fixed, but there's just a lot to like about that game, but something just is amiss. Anyway.
yeah. Well, let's move along. We got some new stuff coming to Mortal. Cool it. Fire arrows and trebuchets.
That's right. They have fire arrows. I think you take I forget. But you can't like do it on a mounted on a horse though.
No, and I don't think they do that much damage either. Because I was sitting in the town or whatever, and someone's like, "Hey, let me shoot you in the head with this fire arrow." I'm like,
okay,
all right. It shoots me as like 3 or 4 damage.
Is this for sieges then? Is it for like hitting the fences?
That's what we're thinking, or
Yeah.
maybe they're for the trebuchets, or they have a catapult in the game, but they call it something else. I forget what they call
Some
it.
weird ass name. Yeah.
Yeah. So they have that. I mean, they're adding some shit. Just to let
So
you guys,
the trebuchet is not in the game yet, right?
No,
Yeah.
it is.
it just
I
got
saw
in
the video.
game-
Yeah.
It just got in the game this week,
Okay.
or this weekend, or
Yeah.
something.
It was just.
All
a
right.
few
So
days
what's
ago.
cooler, Mortal's trebuchet or Darkfall's? Or Darkfall did a catapult first. I forget.
Yeah, I don't know. I have.
Darkfall had the like 2 armored things where you can get behind it. You can launch guys with it and stuff.
So Mortal, you have to use a torch to fire your trebuchet. Like you have to burn the little thing that sets the rope to make it go like that, you know. But I saw a weird thing on Darkfall. They're not even sure if they're really going to do localized banking. Like they're asking for the community, like, what do you think? Should we do localized banking? Should we do regional
Okay,
banking?
so I don't know. We don't have a link. We'll have to dig it up, put it in the show notes. But they've got a plan for their economy banking fix, right?
Okay.
It's a whole long step process of what they want to change in the game to get to where localized banking works, right? So they plan out like how the inventory needs to change, how this needs to change, economy, market fixes. The last fucking item on this list is localized banking.
Yeah.
So my point is,
But they're not even sure
hold
if
on.
they want to do regional or city local.
right? It doesn't even matter. Just local anything, right? Would
Right.
help as long as you gotta move shit to other shit. My point is, they're like all of these are for sure. The localized part isn't for sure. It may not even get in the game, and that's the one thing I should move to the very top of the list. Pass it in right away. Boom! You got immediate awesome sandbox
Yeah,
content.
you know, when the news first came out about the localized banking, it sounded like it was a lock. You know, it came out like, oh, localized banking is coming, and everyone's like, yeah. But yeah, now they just put out a thing, and it was like, it was a poll. And you know what the crazy thing was? On their forums, the poll was like, do you want localized banking, yes or no? And it was like 55% no, 45% yes.
That's because the current community, it's a conquest game. They don't want to deal with the bullshit of playing a sandbox game. They want to go PvP and take over other people's keeps.
Yeah.
They don't want to. They don't want all the emergent gameplay that would bring.
They also talked about limiting the fast travel in the game. Not getting away with it totally, but they're basically kind of what they described was a lot like Ultima Online's. You know, in
Right.
Mortal Online, there's no fast travel. Period. And the only time you ever teleport is if you die. You can hit a button that'll allow you to go to the nearest priest.
Mhm.
But besides that, there's no runes or anything. Darkfall kind of, there's a lot of that going on. I
Yeah,
think
it
more so
used to
with
be
the-
really rare
Right.
in Darkfall 1, but then recently, I mean, it's like everyone's dropping portal shards and
Well, they're talking about going to like a more UO
Rune book.
rune types. Yeah, rune book system.
Well, yeah,
that'd be
but
cool.
see, even in Darkfall though, you always have you can bind someplace and you can always spawn back there. you can respawn at your home if you have a house, which is rare, or you can, your buddy can call you over. Remember that they added that to Unholy Wars, where you can summon a friend, and then there's also the portal shards, and then there's the rune books, and then there's the ports that you can pay 100 gold to go from, like it's fixed points. So
I mean, all that doesn't necessarily suck. It is nice to be able to sync up and like play with each other.
Yeah.
And
you know what though? I
re-
disagree
re-
with
no.
that. I think after playing Mortal this much, that the immersion of the world in Mortal is, I mean, it immerses you because it's like, I wouldn't say real life because no one casts magic in real life and there's no satyrs running around, but it's kind of like, well, if you put something here, it's going to only be there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even in your pets, if you house your pet and you go to a different stable, your pet's not going to be there. It's back where you left it, and I don't know. I like it.
Well, yeah, even when I just recently came back to Mortal, I was running from Meduli trying to find you. There's no map. We don't know where the hell I'm going. It's like, okay, well, do you see this? Do you see that? And after like a half hour, we just randomly happened to like find each other in the forest. It's like, all right, cool. Now let's make our way to the city, and then we're going to go to the village. And we got completely lost. And pretty much our entire game night that night was, get to the city, hit the bank, go to the village, and that was it. But that was a great time.
Do you remember the first time you and I played Darkfall together?
Yeah, it was
Very
like a
similar.
4-hour trek trying to find your ass in Darkfall.
We're going out to Abutan. I remember that. But yeah, I mean that's kind of what I really like about the game is that. Do you ever hit your M key?
All the time.
Immortal.
All the freaking time.
It doesn't do it. There's no map in Immortal. There's no in-game map.
Yeah.
There's no mini map. They added a compass. They've had the compass for a while, but but there's people, and I'm getting better, where you could just put somebody in that game and they could just look around and see some landmarks and go, "Oh, I'm by Mokai."
Yeah.
It's,
Right.
It's very immersive in that capacity.
Yeah, and in your little the Mortal Sessions episode 2 that I was on, I was talking about, they were saying like, oh, what would you like to see added? And I said that I would like to see an in-game map of some kind added, and I spent time thinking about it because they were like, oh no, it's handholdy and all this shit. And you know what? I don't think so, man. As long as it's not a mini map on your screen and there's no arrows or fucking little blue glowing dots showing you where your party is.
That's what Worm added. Worm added a map finally, and it's just a
No.
blanket map.
That's not what he means.
I'm talking. You're in Meduli, right? You go out, you kill some shit, sell that. You get 10 silver. You go to the general vendor guy, and you could buy a map that's in your inventory. Open it up, and it's just a world map, and just shows you the world. But it doesn't show you where you are. Doesn't show you directions. Yeah,
that's what's in Worm. Worm had no map, no compass. Now you start with a compass at least, and the map just shows.
Right.
Yeah.
But the map isn't an item in your inventory. You can pull up the world map anywhere, right?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Knowing Worm, it's a fucking item.
Yeah, that's a good point. So the other thing about Worm, though, is they give you the compass at the beginning. How long do you think the average person actually has that compass?
5 seconds.
they die and they lose the compass?
Well, not only that, but like I think the thing that make the compass, you got to have a mind.
Yeah.
To make it again. You don't have a compass after that forever.
Yeah, it takes a long time. And then you find somebody's loot, maybe that you can find their compass when they die. Yeah. No, I agree with you, Quint. I think that, if you keep it realistic, I mean, to whatever the realism is of the game, which to me, there would very easily be some dude who's traveled and draws on a piece of paper. But there is that. There are people who get blank books and they draw a map. And they can put them, and you can sell those. So you can get blank books and write a story or draw something and then sell it to people in the game.
Yeah, the only problem is like I had no idea that even existed, And this just comes from me trying to like tell somebody, because I was going to give them some free armor, like, okay, you're in this city, I'm in this city, how do you get here? Well, hold on. Let me fucking alt tab out and pull up a map. Because people are just going to alt tab out and have a map up anyways, you know? It's like, why not have it as an item in the game that you can open up, your character's sitting there looking at it, and it just shows you, you know, the shit. And
You know, that was cool in Elder Scrolls Online, because when you looked at a map, your characters actually stand there.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, he's like, what?
And I remember, this is off topic, sorry, but
Yeah.
I remember we would do a thing where everyone's stealth, and I would
Yeah.
stand out there with a map like this for
in the
some
middle of the
people
road.
come
Yeah.
gank you, and everyone would unstealth and attack them.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I just hit. That was fun.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so I think what's happened with Darkfall is they had a chance to revamp their game with Unholy Wars. Didn't go as planned. Now they've kind of like, they're almost like they're changing direction, bringing it back to more of a sandbox.
Mm-hmm.
I guess they're wanting to test the waters, see if they can convince their current player base to follow along with them, and if not, are we going to see Darkfall 3.0?
No,
No.
With a
no,
wipe?
I think what they're going to do is, I think that, and this is just speculation, so I think that Darkfall 1 was such a mess, was such a coding mess, that they couldn't really fix it. They couldn't really change it. Then they started down this path, and they thought that they were going to, you know, find this thing, and they created Darkfall and Holy Wars, and this is class-based. And, you know, I was kind of down with some of the systems when it launched. And then we get in the game, and it's kind of like, well, I'm not feeling the whole Darkfall thing. And they're slowly starting to put it back to Darkfall 1, right? It's kind of like a lot of the changes. But, you know, I think that they now have an engine, a whatever you want to call it, that they can work with and they can mold.
Man, some of these systems are so different. Like the housing system, put them down anywhere. Some of
They're
this
talking about that. That's not in
local banking stuff. I mean, how do they put that in a game existing? Some of it seems crazy.
Well, okay, so the way a house works in Darkfall is you get a house deed and you find a spot and you get the house deed to the spot and bam, you have a house. So in Mortal, it's
Yeah.
kind of like that. It's kind of like ArcheAge, where you find a place, you put your house down, and you get a frame, and then you got to go get a bunch of stuff to build it, right?
Yeah, and as long as you're
Right.
not in someone's territory, they won't come and knock it down before you can even get started.
Right. So I think actually in Mortal it's harder to, because all your supplies go in a chest until you have enough, and then it's built.
Should have fucking kept that house, man.
Yeah,
No,
can
there's
you,
houses. You mean my Darkfall house or my?
No, the Mortal house we used to have.
Oh, there's plenty of places to put houses in Mortal.
Oh, cool.
yeah, can
Yeah.
you go over the new like town building thing that's in the game now?
So essentially, you Immortal.
Yeah, Immortal.
Immortal. Essentially, you can make a completely. You can make like a Moduli type town. You can even make it so people can spawn there when they create a character. Hold on.
And what you can do, what people are doing now, is it's kind of cool that you can do this, but they're being assholes about it. They're starting to build walls around places. Like they're walling off the jungle. There's a guild that is walling off the jungle so that no one else can get in. You know.
Well, the one entrance that everyone uses, they're putting a wall. Another guild's trying to put a wall around the Minotaur cave.
Yeah.
And I'm a Minotaur tamer, so a dominator. It's going to be a problem for me.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, the idea here is they're going to put up a wall, and
Now
if
we
it
got tribs.
pisses off enough people,
Mm-hmm.
then, hey, well, maybe I don't like your guild that much, but let's get together and knock this guy's wall down so we can all fight later. And, you know, I don't know.
Yeah, and I think that's why they put out the trebuchets so fast, and they're also cheap. Apparently, I guess they were saying that they're like 100 gold cheaper than the catapults, but they're better. So I think that's why, is because the devs are probably seeing, oh shit, we got these people walling up blocks of our content. You know, let's put some shit in there to fuck with them. You know.
So there was a poll that Henrik's the main dude over at
Star Vault.
Star Vault for Mortal Online. He had this. So he put up this thing. How many keeps do you think there should be in the new world? Because they're opening up a new continent, right?
Yeah.
And the new continent's going to be bigger than the current continent. I don't know if you guys knew that.
Mm-hmm.
No, I had no idea.
It's going to be bigger. And when we say keeps, that doesn't mean that there's not going to be there's still not going to be player cities and other things. I don't really know the difference, to be honest with you.
Well, I think the keeps are designated places that allow for taxation and control points over certain areas of the map, right?
I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I wish I did. I should know. But there's still going to be player cities. That's where you're going to have open housing building. You know, you place a house anywhere. Very interesting. I mean, right now is a great time to start building a little bit of wealth in Mortal. You know, because when all this stuff comes, they're going to have a Steam launch. And, you know, I'm maybe not as optimistic about Steam launches. Like, do you think really Steam launches adds a lot of players to a game like that? I don't know. I don't really feel it. I think that most people who are going to play Mortal, you know, kind of know about it, or maybe their friends are going to push them that way.
Yeah, but there might be those dudes who, you know, sitting there playing Mountain Blade and something and just, you know, don't even, or just kind of oblivious to whatever's not on Steam.
You mean there's people who don't listen to our podcast?
No.
It's got to appeal to that Steam crowd. I thought Unholy Wars would have a good Steam launch, and it didn't. It tanked.
That's exactly my point.
Yeah.
I don't know. Who knows? I hope it does. You know, we need more people in Mortal. I mean, you still can get killed a lot. You know, there's people there. People are just kind of turtling up in their new bunkers right now, I think. Anyway. So basically Immortal, in our player city, we have a bank. We have crafting materials. We have a stable, you know, we have the appliances we need to extract. We have even a broker in our house, in our village. Now, nobody's going to come and buy stuff off our broker because they're not going to get in the gate. We could put a broker outside, I believe. But there are people who make player cities that aren't completely walled up, that are open for other players to come into. Mm-hmm. So, anyway, that's it for Mortal.
All right.
I've been talking about Mortal for weeks.
Probably for weeks to come.
Yeah.
So, all right, Nate. Let's get on with this. What's going on with Eve? You're the Eve master.
Yeah, I mean, shit's pretty much hit the fan in Eve. So you know they moved to
doesn't shit always hit the fan in Eve?
Yeah, it does. They moved to the non-expansion releases. So every 6 weeks you get a major patch now.
Okay.
So the next patch is going to be November 4th, called Phoebe, and so it's got a lot of really cool changes. A lot more cool changes than the last patch. But the big one is they're basically nerfing to the ground long distance travel and nullsec. So the way travel works currently is, let's say you have a battle on one end of nullsec, and people from the other end of nullsec want to get to it. So they call out the bat phone. They bat phone all their buddies in, right? Mm-hmm. So what happens is you get capital ships start to make a jump network, and everyone jumps out to the fight in 15 minutes.
Okay.
So, you know, you get everyone gets on a Titan, they jump across the map. Everyone gets on the next Titan, jump across the map, all the way until they get to the fight.
Wait, so you can like put your little ships on the big ship, like sort of like a
right?
Okay.
Okay. And then you also can move your whole capital fleet that way. Your capital fleet has jump drives, obviously, right?
Okay.
So this is in EVE terminology. It's called force projection. The force projection of an alliance or a coalition at the moment is pretty much all of EVE.
Okay.
So this has some ramifications. Like if you have a big fight in low sec, well, it's going to get all kinds of people from null sec are going to swoop in and stomp it to the ground. This is also what allows huge battles to occur sometimes. But one thing it does do is it allows alliances to control a large part of the map and leave a lot of like space dead on the map.
Okay.
So smaller groups can't like find their way in and control it because the big alliances swoop in and stomp you out. So one way they have a multi-tiered plan to attack this, but I think you're breathing cool. They're gonna now you can no longer just jump all the way across on these tight, like you start building the fatigue. Okay.
Okay.
So you jump, and then you get like the first jump you won't build a whole lot of fatigue. You make the next jump in like a minute. Okay. Then you jump again, and now you got a lot more fatigue. It's going to take you more time, 10 minutes.
Okay.
On the next one, it's going to take you 20 minutes. Basically, if you were to take yourself from one Stargate, go the 40 Stargates you had to get, okay, and that takes you an hour, that's about how long it would take you to use the jumps now. It's not any faster or less fast than traveling the gates. So as a result, they're now allowing capital ships to go through Stargates. Before, capital ships could only go through a jump network.
Okay.
So what's going to happen is you can no longer bat phone and get your ass saved. You can no longer jump all the way across the map. Your force projection is no longer as great. Along with this, so another one you can do, it's called death cloning. Let's say you've taken your whole alliance and you say, we're fighting on this eastern front, okay? Then someone attacks your western front. All your guys could basically die,
Suicide and spawn over there.
And then you basically relocate your whole like operation, right? That's also gone.
Yeah.
I may not know all the nitty gritty detail as well as someone that's actually in EVE at the moment, but so what I'm kind of anticipating happening, or people are anticipating is going to happen, is this patch will go through. You're going to see a lot of shakeup in nullsec. You'll have bigger alliances, coalitions not able to control all of this spaces effectively, not fight multi-front wars, have to make actual decisions about where they deploy, and it's going to leave probably a lot of room for some smaller groups to get in and fight, smaller gang warfare, more subcap fleet, all kinds of interesting things could happen.
Yeah, it sounds good. Sounds like
how's it being received?
I think it's received by a large majority of players very well, and obviously the large coalitions not well. When it first came out, this same nerf was going to apply to jump freighters, which is how a lot of the industry gets deployed out there.
Mm-hmm.
I think that got scaled back after the initial feedback. So now the logistic network to support war isn't hit as bad. It sounds like it's being received well, although there's definitely a lot of criticism. I mean, this is the first big shakeup to EVE to nullsec since Dominion expansion, which basically revamped the entire SOV system.
How long ago was that?
Years and years ago.
Yeah, I could see, a lot of the big guys, I'm sure, who have control major, they have their foothold and they just got this big area. I could see them getting upset because it makes a lot of sense that it would allow for a lot more smaller communities to start popping up in these areas, because that now people can't be everywhere at once, so.
Yeah, I mean, if you follow the politics game in the last year or two, it's boring as shit.
Yeah. So you're going to have a lot of encroachment. Little creepers coming in and just filling up the space. I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, it's great. And this is like one attack for the overall null problem. We'll see how it comes in the future. This is all going to tie in eventually to new Stargates, to new space, that kind of shit. The other one, unlimited skill queue, which means I can sub to EVE for a year, set a year skill queue,
really,
and never fucking play it.
That's it. I'm subbing to EVE for a year.
I was say, Quint,
no.
when are you subbing?
I'm not doing that, man.
That's
badass, though.
I'm so doing that. It's happening, dude. I'm subbing to EVE for a year and not looking back.
Oh, man.
I don't even know where to set my skills.
Yeah, right.
Multiple market sell order creation. This is massive. Okay, so you go fly to Jeddah. You've been missioning all week, mining all week. You got hundreds of items in your cargo hold. You got to click each one and figure out how to sell it. It's annoying. It's also awesome because EVE Market's great. Now, I guess this thing, you can sell a big chunk of that material, and it just automatically sells all of it to the highest buy order, which is the fastest way to dump something, but the least you won't make very good money.
Right.
But for someone that's lazy like me, just wants to sell shit, this is awesome. A lot of other stuff. They're still going back and like retweaking and revamping their whole industry. There's a lot of stuff in this.
I don't think it'll ever end, man. They're always going to be changing shit and tweaking shit in
like,
that game.
Here's a new cloaking effect for when you cloak up. It looks fucking awesome.
Didn't they just do that too? I thought they just added a new cloaking effect like 6 months ago.
No, they added like a new jump look.
Oh, okay.
And a new warp tunnel look.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, this is great. Lots of neat things in this patch.
Yeah, I actually patched up today. The funny thing about me and Eve is that I want to like it. I just can't. I'm trying to. I try.
I'm in the same boat, man.
So Nate, let me ask you this. You know me, right? What should I do in Eve that I would enjoy? Like what?
Well, so what you did in Mortal, this return trip, is exactly how you should tackle Eve. That is, find a group of guys that you like to play with and do what you like to do, rather than try to do what we did last time, which is go with like the 3 or 4 people you know really well and tackle the game on its own. Like you need a good court, basically.
Yeah.
It's the first thing, and then you need to.
I just want to play it on the side, though. I don't want to get that involved.
Well,
at least for a while.
Mining is boring and missioning is boring, but they both tie into so much of the game that they're not bad to do on like an alt. But as your main character, if you're looking to really enjoy Eve, you got to make a PvP guy. And then you're PvPing and you're like, oh, I want to support my PvP. I want to lose more, bigger shit. And then you start maybe mining more or missioning more or whatever, you know.
Well, I mean, I can do it all on the same account. I've had this account for so long. I mean, I'm not going to be great, but I could be like a decent miner and then start working on PvP, right?
Yeah, you definitely have to. I think for you definitely have to PvP more, and then let the mining, missioning stuff tie into like feeding your ship loss.
Yeah. Huh.
You know. And then
what do you do, Nick? What do you do, Quint, when you play? You the same boat as I am?
Yeah. Well, no. Last time I played, we were all doing what was it?
Faction warfare.
We were flipping the stations or whatever it was, and we were going out and doing that stuff. And that was on like a 2-week character build, I think it was. Like we just skilled up for like 2 weeks, got in these little with the frigates, and we would we would fly through and just be flipping the stations and doing that. And then of course every once in a while we'd get busted in on, and we'd either have to bail or we'd get completely screwed instantly. But that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, faction warfare is a great way to learn Eve and dive into PvP right away. It's probably the best way. The other thing you can do as a new player is join a big, huge nullsec alliance, and then they stick you in a frigate out in this huge PvP battles.
Just go for it.
That works, but I think it's less fun than faction warfare at that level anyways.
I don't think I've ever walked away from a fight in Eve victorious.
I never have.
I know you have.
I've escaped, but I've never survived. Right. Like
you never killed anyone and said, "I win."
We had a group of us that played it a little longer than both of you did. I think we were at it for a good 2 months during that faction warfare stint, and one of our buddies, Gumber, he really stuck with it, and he was at worse skill level than either one of you. He had never had an account until then, and by the end of those 2 months, he was killing all kinds of people. I mean, at least at that stint, he had a better record than me. Yeah.
Although the same effect, cool. I think I'm the same way in Mortal and maybe Darkfall. Dude, I'm not a good PvPer. I just can't do it.
Yeah, but
I'm not either.
The thing about Mortal that I'm finding is that it's so much more tactical than Darkfall. Like we're like, okay, well, they're on mounts, we're on foot. Getting those rocks, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And then like, okay, everyone's surround the healer, and I've had a lot of fun with that, you know. And then it's like, okay, well, we got killed, but we won because we killed more of them than they killed us, even though they had more. Like, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. They, you know, I mean, and then in Mortal, it's kind of like the stuff you have. It's kind of like whatever.
Yeah.
We're going out. You're going to lose everything you have, most likely. But I don't know. I think that with this guild that we're playing with now in Mortal, once you get your fighter all geared up, that if you don't quit, we're going to have a lot of fun PvPing.
Yeah.
But
I want to get to that point.
Yeah, because right now what we're doing is Quentin. I mean, I have 2 accounts, 4 characters each, 8 accounts, and I'm doing a bow crafter, an armor crafter, a weapon crafter, an extractor, a butcher, and then I have all supporting 2 characters, which is a mage dominator and a fighter or a mounted archer. So
I'd say that sounds like crap, except for it's so much fun and Mortal to make a character and like complete it.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But that's what we're doing though. It's like, so, my butcher was able to get a hold of some here we go back on Mortal, some satyr carcasses, and I butchered them up and got some scales for Quint armor crafter to make my mage some armor. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And all this.
Oh, I was going to tie it back into Eve. See, and that's the problem that I always have with Eve, and why I get so frustrated and like almost paranoid to do anything in Eve, is that I feel like getting a good ship or getting equipped out in Eve, to me, seems a lot harder than Mortal. Like for Mortal, if I wanted some armor, like I just ride out on my fighter, go kill a few Belbuses, find a wolf, kill those things, come back, send it to my armor, create the armor, boom, I have like 3 sets of armor now in the bank.
Yeah, you've got to treat Eve. You can't. To make all your own shit in Eve is so daunting because that crafting is an entire career on its own.
Yeah.
And while Mortal is similar, because Mortal is fucking complicated too.
Mm-hmm.
Eve is there's so much more content there. The
other thing is that it would take you forever to be able to make decent ships, right?
Right. So
I mean, that's not one character. That's one account, right?
So Eve you have to look at it as, I want to do this function. I need this ISK to accomplish that, and that's separate from this task. If that makes sense.
Right.
So if you want a PvP and I want a PvP in this type of ship, I need to be making 20 million ISK a week to support what I lose.
Yeah.
Not how do I make myself 20 rifters, all the guns and the ammo. You're just going to go to Jita and buy that shit. Or you're going to have an alt or the same character, either one, that's like working that whole thing. Yeah, you'll have a lot more fun if you think of it that way rather than how do I get all this shit made myself.
Yeah.
Or not. You could really enjoy the industry side. It's a lot to dive into, but
yeah, I guess it just seems overwhelming to me, And it's like I get so paranoid. It's like, man, I do not. If I lose this ship, what am I gonna do? I don't have a spare ship. I'm gonna be out there flying my starter ship again.
Yeah.
So I get too paranoid to lose things in Eve, as opposed to Mortal. It's like I go out, I know I'm losing it, and it's like, oh, that's all right. I got 3 sets of armor in the bank, and I got Coolit to make me a bunch of bows and swords. So
yeah, I used to think of Eve as I'm gonna take out this battlecruiser in PvP. If I die. And at the time, I was doing missions in high sec and PvPing in low sec. So if I die in this battlecruiser, that's one mission I gotta go do, which is 30 minutes.
Yeah.
So it was like not bad. But the other problem with me and Eve is that, I mean, how many minutes does it take you to get the ship, find all the shit that you're supposed to put on it, put it all on it the right way, and then get it back out in space?
Well, the good thing is you can save loadouts.
Right.
But you still have to have all the gear, or it's all in that one area, Judah, right?
Yeah, there's a couple of markets. There's markets in every big zone. There's even markets out in nullsec that you can use. If you join a big nullsec alliance, they're going to feed you all the information. We want you in this ship and these kinds of fleets. Here's your options to be in this fleet. You have this 20 options to fly in this fleet comp.
I think you just talked me out of playing.
That's too much like having a job.
Yeah.
Well,
then you got to listen to some asshole sitting at his computer.
No, there's so many different play styles. That's one play style. The other one is you're in a small game PvP guild that isn't like that at all.
See, I like the idea of subbing for a year and setting all my skills so I can be a crafter, coming back in a year and saying, okay, what do you guys want built?
Yeah, but you know how much being a crafter is, like acquiring assets, buying BPOs, getting those, like that's a lot of it.
Yeah, I know.
There's a lot of skill involved in it, but it's
Do you know that
skills.
there's people who play Mortal Online who are basically they're just brokering things, man. They're going out there and they're trading this guy this for this, and then trading that back over to this guy, and they're making a ton of gold doing it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't know. I think that we just clearly pointed out why ArcheAge is even. You know, I'm not knocking it for fun. You know, fun is fun. Why ArcheAge is not really a sandbox is the two conversations we had about Mortal. I mean, the conversations we had about these two games, Mortal and Eve. That's what makes a sandbox to me. You know.
Yeah, I mean, I started analyzing ArcheAge, and I can see an end to me wanting to play it. When I started talking about Mortal and Eve, it's like, well, I could do this shit for years.
Yeah.
You know why? Because you can in both of those games, you can own an army and a empire. You can lead an empire in both of those games. Theoretically.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, people have done it in both games.
Right.
And are
I mean,
doing it in both games.
I don't know if we're going to do that, being
No.
people who have jobs and children and all that crap. But,
Yeah.
but I mean, there is that. There is this unlimited end game in those two games, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, because the game is always changing. You know,
Right.
like the game is not changing because of the developers are making it change. The game is changing because the players are changing it.
Because
Whereas-
of politics.
Yeah,
because
and I feel like
Game of
ArcheAge
Thrones
will
type-
always be ArcheAge. You know?
You got to keep in mind, though, that sometimes EVE Online isn't fucking fun. Sometimes Mortal Online is not fun.
Yeah.
You log in those games, you got hours of work and trekking across the map and then dying. Sometimes it's just not fun.
Right, which is that part of it removes the gaminess, you know, then like oh, you log in, you get these. I'm kind of joking about that, but in Mortal, it's like no, I mean, it's more of a persistent world
Yeah.
than it is a true game. You know what I mean? Because a true
Right.
game makes sure that you don't get. It takes out that boring shit. You know, and we've seen that happen to MMOs lately a lot. Where you don't like to return to the person who gave you the quest to get the reward? Hey, we'll take that out of there.
That's
Soon as you
awesome. I
finish
love
it-
that shit. Put that in every questing game.
But you know, I mean, you don't like to walk to the dungeon and find a group? Here's a system. Just push this button, you're in. You know what I mean?
I love that
Yeah.
shit too.
You know, so that is to me sort of like, you know, we don't ever really want to define what a sandbox is because I think that's dependent on the person. But to me, that's what the type of MMOs I like is it doesn't cut those corners. You know, I mean, the original EverQuest, or even when WoW first started, you had to go find the dungeon. You had to like sit out there and go, hey, looking for group, you know, or have your friends to join you. They take all that stuff out of games now. So yeah, playing Eve or playing Mortal, there are those huge. Most of the time you're playing, you're doing mundane things. But I guess the contrast makes the action part, the fighting or the cool part, you know, the contrast of that is kind of makes it that much better, I think.
Yeah. Well,
and that
the weird thing is even just for me is that that's the stuff I enjoy is the boring stuff. I mean, I like running from Meduli to Bakhti, you know, trying to find I got to go all the way across here, you know, just being out in the world, the peaceful stuff, you know, the PvP is, I get a little too anxiety about it, but I still find fun in it. But for, you know, I think one of the most fun times I had in there was just sitting at the blacksmith station and making armor for newbies, you know, and just say, here courtesy of the Sandbox, you know, have fun, you know, and you know, I don't know. It's just those little things, and not so much the game mechanics, you know.
Yeah, because in Mortal Online, you're not the hero in the game. You know,
You're just
not
a dude in the
you're
world.
not the
Right.
one, right? You're just a freaking peasant, basically.
Yeah.
And maybe
It's
one
up
of
to
your
you.
characters will eventually, you know, build up some wealth so he can travel around with some steel swords. I can't remember the last time I had a steel sword in that game.
Yeah.
You know, but you know what I'm working on right now? I'm working on my extractor getting up to making steel. So once I have steel, I'm going to be rolling in steel swords all the time because I'm going to make sure I have enough steel that I don't care if I lose that steel sword because I'm going to have another one right behind it. And that's kind of probably like similar to Eve, you know, like you say, these guys that are rolling out there in this expensive gear, they're doing it because they can make 5 other ships like that, you know,
Right.
as soon as they go back to the
wealth to
base.
support it, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm spinning my wheels now. We're kind of going over the.
Well, I just think I love the games for the exact same reason you were talking about. That's why I play those. I'm just saying that there's a place for ArcheAge. It kind of gives you enough sandbox, keep you interested, and in a lot of ways, it's more fun, more often, faster.
Yeah.
So
Right.
it's a nice little like distraction from these games, at least for a little while.
I think though, and I almost feel like why I'm really not liking ArcheAge is because it's trying to be too many different things. It's almost like, well, I'll go play Diablo because when I get into Diablo, I just go like map, bam, and I'm in the action, right?
Yeah.
And if I want, like we talked about, well, in Elder Scrolls Online, you have to hit level 10, and then you're just PvPing, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, it's almost to me like all that little frilly shit on the perimeter of ArcheAge is kind of like, I don't get it. You know, it's like, well, I can have so I'm going to have a mount, but I have to take the mount and I have to breed it. Well, no, I'm not breeding it. I just have to sit there for a while and dance for it so it grows up. It's like, well, that's not sandboxy. That's like
No.
giving me a couple events to do to have the same fucking mount as everyone else has, right?
Right.
Now, I don't know if later on I can take 2 different mounts and breed them. By the way, they've added some crazy breeding stuff in Mortal.
Yeah.
Like, you can take a mount that has fast speed and breed it with someone else, but you have to be careful not to inbreed them because they'll die and you'll lose a bunch of money. But anyway, excuse me. You know, so in ArcheAge, my problem was all these features that they have. Is it cool to drive around in a boat and kill other people, harpoon and kill other people in boats? Hell yeah, that's cool, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then
It's
you
awesome.
have all the rest of the game. What good is a house in that game? You know?
It's
well,
a port. The
it's a-
house is a port and
I
some
think
extra
the-
storage.
I think the other good thing about a house is that when you get to higher level crafting, you'll need someplace to put a higher level crafting station, if I'm not right, because they don't have those in towns, correct?
Yeah, like our guild has all of them built in one little spot.
Okay.
So I don't need one personally. Just
But I
go
mean,
to
you
guilds.
have all these features in that game, but I don't see how they mesh together well in a cohesive, like economy slash. I don't know. That's my 2 cents about it.
Yeah, it's almost like it's trying to be too much of everything at once, and it makes it very it just feels awkward.
And Nate, just explain one thing to me. How can you justify the sense of immersion when there's cars in the game? I mean, you can almost get the gliders. I can buy the gliders, right? Because theoretically, even though you're upside down wrong on them, you know. But they have cars with motors. I don't know. I'm just
You
kidding.
realize that now you burn equal fuel to make your sailboat go faster. Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. You know, I don't want to knock. If you're having fun, man, it's fun. But it's like, for me, it's like, if I wanted to have just fun in an MMO, I'd go play Terra because I think the combat is awesome in that. You know, there's not a lot of sandbox. There's good PvP, and the combat's fun. Or, which is, to me, Terra is, what is that game you like that 38 Studios did, Quint?
Kingdoms of Amalur.
Kingdoms of Amalur, that game seems cool. It's got like kind of like action arcadey type combat, and you know, kind of
Combos
like
and fast.
Skyrim. Skyrim meets, you know, I don't know, action combat. But it's like every time I play, it's like, well, I'd rather play Terra because I like MMOs better. But I don't see, like, if I want sandbox, I'm gonna play a real sandbox, and if I just want fun actiony shit, I'm gonna go play something that is fun, actiony shit. Where ArcheAge kind of, I don't know, falls apart for me because it has an identity crisis, and also I've already played it to max level in alpha, so that might be a little bit of it too.
You kind of blew the engine a little early on that one.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And and the other part that really bothered me about the way they changed it before launch was just the house rush. It left a bad taste in my mouth.
I didn't like it either. It kind of ruined the server in some ways.
So nope. So you're playing. So you have patron status or whatever you call it.
Right.
But because of the server you're on, everyone does. So it doesn't really matter, does it? No. Because everyone who did the head start started on that. A lot of people started on that server. Mm-hmm. It got full, so you can't get other land. So people who aren't head start, who aren't patron, they're going to come in and they're going to be like, well, screw that server. I can't own anything on that server. It's full, and plus there's huge queues, at least at the time. So now all the free-to-plays are kind of on one server. I don't know. I don't know if that's accurate.
I think over time that'll even out, though, because if you log in now, it just says all the servers just say hi. So it's just pick one.
Other than the server I'm on, it gets a queue pretty regularly. Small one, but it does get
still? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
All right.
I think that's a show, dude.
Yeah. Unless you want to bring up another topic, get me talking about Mortal Online we've only done like 8 podcasts on
We'll save that for the Mortal Sessions 3.
Yeah.
Keep it going. So anyways, check us out on Twitter at Sandbox Podcast for Cool It, at Nateryl for Nate, or at Sandbox Quint for me. The website, obviously, sandboxpodcast.com, and the Twitch, twitch.tv/sandboxpodcast. Anything else?
Let me add one thing. Feel free to give us some feedback or some questions. Send me an email at coolit@gmail. If you guys have any questions, or if you disagree with us and you want to throw something out there, we haven't done that in a long time, read anything on the air from our listeners, and I'd like to kind of get in that habit. So send us some stuff.
If you disagree with Cool It, he'll 1v1 you in Mortal.
Yeah. Except for you, Temujin.
All right. Well, that's it. Thanks for listening.
See ya.
Peace.
Stopped.